Hello and welcome to the Performance Racing League. You are joined today for round 13 at Azerbaijan for Tier 1, and I am pleased to say that I am joined alongside by the one and only Hoop. How's it going, mate?
It's going good, Luco. How's everything going with you?
Yeah, it's good. I'm happy to be back, and it's nice to see PRL still going along strong, and loads of familiar faces and names. Lots of positivity in Discord as well, so really good to see. And it's interesting as well to hear about the kind of the revamp of the sort of the race regs on like a per race basis. So maybe run us through what we've got in store today.
Yeah, absolutely. Today we have a reverse championship standings grid. So we'll have the bottom of the standings starting at the front of the grid, and our championship leader will actually be starting mid pack. That's Bass. In P7 and an 11 car grid, and at the back we will have our reserves. So smaller grid today, just 11, but 7 full timers, and this is one of the most important ones with our championship finale coming up next week. And it looks like we're getting right into it now with the formation lap. So that should be the correct. Yep, there's our starting grid for you. But with next week being the championship finale and next week also being a double points race, that means a lot of contenders still in play for championship contention, both with the drivers and constructors championships. So that constructors, very tight at the top. Let's see, who is leading our constructors?
I'm so glad that you have this information. It's great to have that recap, as Mr. Bean actually runs into the barrier there on the formation lap, but he gets away with that.
That's a tough one. I believe it's Red Bull at the top of the constructors. They lead Williams by, I believe it's one. Let's see. Taking a quick look here.
No, all good. Really appreciate it.
Red Bull at the top of the constructors. They lead Williams by 206 points. Now that's a bit of a gap for sure. And Williams actually needs to trim that down by 14 points to have any shot going into Portugal next week. So they have to be at a 192-point gap. Marchana is actually a reserve, but plugged into the Williams this week. So they still have a shot, but it's going to be tough to overcome that deadly duo of Ramsey and Bass. Bass, our championship leader in the drivers, over Morris by 50 points. And then Gord in third. He's 142 back. Now, I believe, let's see, 53.
I mean, while you're doing that, just Red Bull, Ramsey and GK Bass.
Yeah.
What a team.
what a duo. Yeah, that is an impossible duo to compete with, especially when they're here every week nearly. Looking at the standings page, and that's a line full of color for podiums and fastest laps. So
that's a great way of putting it. I think Justin's slightly gone beyond his marks there, so he's going to get, I think, pushed back. But it looks like everyone has now formed up, and it looks like we're just going to await those infamous lights. 10 red lights. And they're away. Oh, a very clean start there by Noob. Down the order, though, a little bit of side-by-side contact further down with Marchena. Ramsey pushing forward, but he's got Justin on the inside there. He's going to hold on. Oh, just misses a collision there, I think, with Mr. Bean. As we see, yeah, Ramsey's in real trouble there. He has spun around on exit of 2. I think they're a little bit tight there. So he's not come off too well. In the meantime, Morris now diving down. Is he going to go for GK? Oh, a little lock-up. Thinks better of it and avoids GK, who is now in third place. Yeah, some nice racing around here. Tough track to fight alongside.
Yeah, especially once you get into Sector 2, it really tightens up, and they're trying to make all of their moves before we get to Sector 2. Very loose there from Morris, but he's able to hang on to it. Wow.
Yeah, that's quite a good save. Ooh. It's so tight for track limits on that corner as well. I forget what number it is. You really have to attack that curb.
Let's see. Ramsey. I'm taking a look at Ramsey. He might have some. Oh, he definitely has front wing damage and a severe collision, it looks like.
Yeah, he's lost his front wing, so it looks like he's gone into the back of someone and received a 10-second penalty.
And here's the VSC. Ramsey really happy that the VSC is out. Turn 3, or I guess it's turn 2 actually. It seems like everyone is able to keep it. Oh, he's gone. Marchena is gone. That car did not turn at all into turn 15, I believe.
Oh, wow. I completely missed that. Wasn't expecting, obviously, a DNF on a VSC period, but wow.
It's a tough one.
Yeah, commiserations. Marchena reserving up.
So he'll get the 2/3 of an extra lap compared to everyone else in Tier 2 later.
Wow, so Justin and Ramsey, then they've got it all to do. I wonder if they will box under VSC. Unfortunately, it's just ended anyway, so
yeah.
No real gain, unfortunately. That's really frustrating for them. So they're going to have absolutely no delta gain to the competition there.
So staying Justin in. Ramsey continues on. I think he's missing both end plates, so tough for the Red Bull driver.
Yeah, it looked like there was a bit of a squeeze going on turn 2. Never ideal when you've got 2 or 3 cars alongside.
Very
I mean, just look at Sainz and Perez.
Yeah. Well, turn 2, I feel like in a race earlier this season in midweek, turn 2, there was an incident on lap 1, but the ghosting really helping everyone out there. So Ramsey lucked out that he ghosted as he went across the track facing sideways, and no one else collected in that, and no race-ending damage there.
Yeah. Already looking like Mr. Bean slightly holding up, I think, the Morris and the Williams in third. That's allowing Noob to slightly pull away, so he'll be aiming to try and break that DRS activation zone of 1 second. I think Morris knows that, and he's going to really be pushing hard to get past. Will he go for the move here? Just slightly too far back. He's going to have to ace this exit, probably deploy a little bit of battery, which he's already doing, and try and get this move done as soon as possible. Let's follow him on board. Right in the slipstream, but it looks like he may have higher downforce. Although, you then see Mr. Bean's red light flashing, which means he is already low on battery. Right. Or he's changed the mode, one of the two. And that has pretty much just allowed Morris to then take the place rather easily. So maybe...
maybe waiting a little bit longer to get a little bit more overspeed from tucking in and waiting till the last minute instead of trying to make that move early on the front straight away.
Yeah, smart driving if so. And wow, look at this. A massive change of fortune, because I think Noob struggled on exit for turn 2, and Morris has just breezed past with DRS. Little wobble on exit, but wow. In the space of 2 corners, that has really turned around already for him.
Yep, and that gives him a 2-car buffer to his championship rival as they head into one of the toughest parts of the track to overtake in Sector 2.
Yeah, so GK is going to have to be pretty on it then, hasn't he, to get past these cars to put pressure back onto Morris. Really nice through this castle section. Quite good footage, actually. The game's doing a good job.
Yeah.
Craig running in Tier 1's really interesting. I think, is he still a Tier 2 driver, or is Craig a Tier 1 driver
He's still a Tier 2, yeah. So we have Rusty, Villeneuve, Marchena, and Craig are all reserving from Tier 2, getting a little extra practice in before they're... they have a very tight championship race going on in Tier 2 right now, so...
Wow, that'd be so cool. It'd be great to follow that. And for those that are watching, that is coming up next. So following this Tier 1 race, there's a small break, and then you're more than welcome to join us for Tier 2, which I assume will have the same rule set.
Yes.
Cool. Right, I'm back on board with Mr. Bean. Yeah, a little bit too far back, but racing well. You know, definitely got... it looks like he's put the shame of that spin on the formation lap firmly in the past.
Yeah, sometimes if you start off on the wrong foot, it's like the snowball effect. You screw up one thing, and then you think about that thing, and the second thing you screw up, and the third thing. But he's back on the front foot, hanging on in P3 right now.
Ramsey in the pits again. Is it again, or is this his first one?
I think it's his first one.
Okay.
Taking advantage of the VSC. Looks like Rusty lost his front wing, and I think that was the cause of it.
Great insights there. Yep, I can see that on board, and you're right. Yep, Ramsey's first stop, just highlighting that on the display as well now. Justin has stopped twice already on lap 3. So a slight race to forget for him so far. Very solid driver though. Always impressed when I see him race. And looks like so Gord Source being so close to GK, you've always got to be a little bit careful in these situations because you want to build a buffer on the VSC Delta, but then you'll see you need to then accelerate at the right time and not kind of push your luck too much, but otherwise you get caught out. Looks like Mr. Bean, for example, there timed that very well on the VSC exit, and he is now closed right up to Noob just in time for the perfect overtaking spot, the main straight.
Yeah, he got a great jump on that.
Yeah, it looks like so 8th down, so Ramsey, Justin, Rusty, they are really going to need probably a full safety car. But I agree with what you said earlier. I think Ramsey pitting under VSC, that will at least help claw back some of the Delta.
Yeah, and the hards are so good on this year's game that you can just ride them.
Oh, hold up here, sorry. GK Bass going for a double move on Mr. Bean and Noob. I think took them both by surprise. Had to duck out of the way, and in the end, they get it all sorted out before turn 1. But I would not have expected that. Looks like GK clearly has a slightly higher speed setup. Completely went through his battery, but perfect timing there. 2 overtakes in 1.
Yep, there we go. Now he can be within DRS of his championship rival at the front of the field.
Yeah, seems like the good drivers, they just always, both in real life and obviously in the game as well, they always seem to find a way. In whatever situation, they always find a way to kind of get in DRS range of their rivals. I don't know how, they just do it. You know, it just happens for them. Other people like maybe kind of get stuck behind the other drivers. It takes a lot longer.
Yeah, and it's super easy to get caught behind somebody slower than you on a Baku when you're starting from the back and you have slower drivers in front of you at the beginning of the race. So great work by Morris and GK to kind of pick their way through the field. It's only lap 5 and they're at the front of the field. So it'll be Gord next trying to make his way past the Ferrari and the Sauber of Noob and Mr. Bean.
Yeah, well said. And you can see Morris, the tactician, he's already responding. I can just see from the on, but he's pushing to the limit, almost track limits on entry to that last corner, and then smacks the side of the car into the barrier. He won't have any damage, but he's just set a purple, so really pushing it almost like a quali lap to get outside of Bass's DRS range. And that's worked flawlessly for him. I'm seeing flashing yellows.
Yeah, Ramsey found the wall, and I believe that's turn 7.
Okay, I see his car. His car is not good. So a race to forget for the Red Bull. It has to be said. I think he will have to box, unfortunately. This is not a track that you can survive with a missing end plate. Noob in 5th. At one point was almost touching Gord Source. Still very good racing though. The top 5 only separated by, I think, less than 6 seconds. Less than 5 seconds. Wow, a lot of locking up on this game. A lot of tyre smoke. Another yellow. That's Ramsey retiring, yeah. Slight race to forget for him, but, I mean, in the constructors, as Hoop said earlier, you know, they've clearly done a very good job. So, from an average perspective, it's still great. And there's one race left to go, right, in the championship. The double points one. So as long as he can at least score some comfortable points next race, I think from the constructors' point of view, they'll be A-OK, and GK Bass is very well holding the fort in 3rd place. So a nice little podium battle shaping up already. He certainly couldn't rule out any of the top 5 at this stage, but of course we're only on lap 6 of 26. Already had, I think, 2 VSCs, maybe 3. A few broken wings. Yeah, just reading the stream chat. Yeah, appreciate the positive messages. I mean, I think there's been some great comments in PRL as well, like just from everyone, and big community effort. And I mean, Hoop's been already amazing, and I know he's helped out a lot as well. So you know, it's a real team effort, but it's good to hear the nice feedback. Mr. Bean, not quite close enough, but he is really making a race of this against Morris. It's really cool. Oh, Mr. Bean sideways drifting it through the corners, but holds on to it relatively well. Only loses about half a second. That shouldn't cost him. You have to really thread the car through that chicane. You've got to hug that inside wall. If you don't, you lose yet more time. Oof. Wow, you could really see these drivers pushing as hard as possible. GK Bass so comfortable on the brakes. He doesn't even make that corner look difficult, and it's probably one of the hardest ones on the track. So really, well, previous experience so far is saying to me that GK has quite a high speed setup. So can he pull off a second double overtake after only 7 laps? I mean, you never know. Maybe not though this time. I mean, notice, you know, I don't want to talk too much, but notice the battery usage differences. Certain people pushing, certain people taking a longer view. Great exit from Morris. He's kind of taken Mr. Bean by surprise there. Oh, wow. I don't know how there's been no contact, but I think GK Bass is going to want to have a piece of that action. Oh, almost a Perez-esque incident there. But GK Bass ultimately gets past Mr. Bean. Yeah, slight lessons in battery usage there, and well, the frustrations of motorsport really make the move. But if you go slightly too deep, then they can always come back on exit, and obviously then your battery's depleted as well. So when you go for a move, you've really got to try and make it stick. But yeah, Morris still leading, so he's doing everything he can. Gourd Sauce, he's maintaining a gap of about 1.5 seconds. It's slightly increasing every lap, so he's almost there. It's one of those frustrating things that his race pace is just slightly off. But I think when the top 3 start to fight, depends how they do it. Depends if they just do it on the main straight with DRS, it won't make too much of a difference. But if they start fighting in the technical sections, Gourd will catch up in 1 lap. So do not rule him out at all.
All right, I think I fixed my technical issue, but please let me know if there's any feedback on your end, Luco.
I can hear you perfectly now.
All right, awesome. Yeah,
I can hear myself very slightly.
Okay, let me turn it down then. I had my headphones died on me, so.
No worries. I held the fort. If you could just turn it down just slightly more, I know it's frustrating.
Yep.
Cool. Yeah, that's much better. Right, so the top 3, they're still fighting it out. GK now up to 2nd, playing the long game with the battery. And is he going to go for the move on Morris? No, sensibly backs out, just putting the pressure on. How long has Mr. Bean been in a PRL for?
Not very long, I believe, since partway through this season.
Okay. Well, he seems to be making a positive impact.
Yeah, immediately showing some real pace to hang out at the front of Tier 1. He's actually won our last 2 races, so...
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's off. It's good, giving Morris some pressure. See, Morris is such a veteran of PRL now, really. Wow, GK Bass is going to go for the move down the inside. Well, I mean, the gap was there. Great move. Will it backfire into the main straight? Let's find out. But a very nice opportunistic move there by GK Bass. Very good confidence. Oh, yeah. Sorry, Ramsey. I've just seen your comment. Yeah, I did. All I saw was I did see a green car and a Red Bull side by side, but I didn't honestly see exactly what happened. I just knew it was very congested. But I'm sure the stewards will sort anything out if that is the case. But obviously, apologies for your race, mate. We were saying earlier that the constructors is looking good for you, and GK Bass is holding the fort. So you've got, it's a team effort with that one at least, and you're very much in it. think one feature this game could do with is like a special commentary camera just for lap 1, turns sort of 1 through 5, to have that sort of top view like you get in real life. Because there's just so much going on, but you can never really see it all, and it's a bit disappointing. Mr. Bean understeering and then oversteering through the chicane, so I think he's really pushing, but I think struggling for grip already. Let's just have a little look at who's pit. So only Justin and Rusty, the rest still going strong. Morris has opportunistically done that. That's really cool. Anyway, back to tyres. So we've got GK and Mr. Bean on hard, so Morris is on the medium. That's worth noting. I mean, with Baku, the performance of the tyres is quite interesting, at least on older games. Not sure if it's changed, but I assume that GK and Mr. Bean would be pretty happy getting tugged along by Morris at this stage of the race.
Yeah, he knows he's gonna have the stronger tire at the end of the race, so stay right with him, and hopefully the pace at the back on the second stint will propel you to victory.
Yeah, and it's like Morris has had enough of giving them tow. He's going to leave those two to fight it out and maybe spin each other out, and he is boxing, I assume, onto the hard tyre, but let's follow. Gordsource joining him as well. Yeah, hard tyre as expected. And then very quickly, just looking at position changes. I mean, it's been quite a hectic race. GK Bass up 6. Mr. Bean in the same position. Morris up 3. Villeneuve, big shout out to him. You know, it's worth highlighting the drivers further down as well. He's still in a great position, P5 and up 5th. Sorry, up 5 from 10th, I should say. Noob and Justin struggling slightly. And yeah, obviously Ramsey and Marchena are retirees. So we now have Morris, Gord and Craig all on fresh hard tyres. Every single lap so far, though, there has been at least 2 drivers at the top within DRS range.
Yeah, fun little game of a cat and mouse, but switching up who is the cat and who's the mouse. So in for a good finish to this one.
Mr. Beam, he's in a hot lap deployment mode. He wants the position. GK Bass, being the wise owl he is just going to let that one go.
Yeah, he knows he has another chance, like as soon as we get to the next DRS zone, so...
Absolutely love turn 2. It's a bit harder than it seems, but when you get it just right, as GK Bass has done, it's so satisfying. And then a lovely slick overtake on exit. One of my favourite tracks, actually. It feels so good when you get this right, when you get it right around here.
Man, it feels so good because it's so tough to get right. Especially through Sector 2, where the lower speed corners, where they're trickling through right now. Very tough to get that exit correct, and then that castle section, razor thin margins.
Yeah. And speaking of the castle section, we've got Bass and Mr. Bean just going through there. Look how close they get with their end plates to each apex, because the apex essentially is a wall. Really exciting stuff. One thing as well, just noting, I think Noob had an overtake on Craig, so Craig is now trying to fight back. So there's lots of action throughout the order. Noob is on the faster tyre though. But interestingly, Noob is on a medium tyre, fresh, on lap 12 of 26. So it'd be interesting to see how that performs at the end, but maybe this game's different. So Mr. Bean, 0.4, 4 tenths away. Will he conserve battery? Will he just go for it? Every lap is almost a repeat at this point. Nice overtake though. Again, that's getting the better exit, and Mr. Bean immediately just dumping the battery, does not want to get involved.
Yeah, it's almost like they're trying not to slow each other down. They know that eventually Morris will come back to them once they have to go into the pits. So they're trying to pull away as much as they can now so that they don't have to fight as hard later against Morris.
That is a great insight there. And it's really good to see, if that is the case, and I think it is. Yeah, two great drivers, and they are actually working together, knowing that the race doesn't really begin until later on. So Morris with a 15-second gap. I mean, if I could be wrong here, but isn't that very, very good? Because how long does a pit take around here? I know it's a bit quicker, but isn't it about 18 seconds?
It's a lot more than 14 seconds for sure. So Morris is in a pretty good spot right now.
Yeah. I mean, perhaps GK and Mr. Bean, they have still been fighting a little bit, so maybe they have lost a little bit of time, even though they've tried to be doing it seamlessly. Yeah. That is crazy. I only just picked up on that. Morris must be pushing like crazy. Based on his exit from that turn just then, he is going for it. I think he's hit the wall. I need to remember the turn number, but he's hit that wall at least 3 times that I've seen.
Yep, another lap, another lead change going into turn 1.
Will Bass then make the move in the second DRS zone? Oh, this time actually, Mr. Bean aced the exit, so I think the answer might be no. I think these two will be hoping for a VSC. And in the meantime, Noob and Craig still going for it. So Craig did take the place back last lap, and then Noob is going to re-overtake. Oh, careful not to make contact there. Side by side, I mean, I say that Noob's going to make the overtake, but Craig's actually defending it for his life. Oh, very close there. And Craig keeps the place.
Yeah, I think they're getting the reps in for later this afternoon when Tier 2 takes this track on. They're figuring out how far they can push on the defense and how late they can brake when trying to overtake. So should be some good battles here in the midfield.
I was really impressed by Oscar Piastri here with that move on Leclerc into turn 1. That was a great example of late braking. I don't know how he kept that out of the wall on the exit.
The late braking and then throughout the rest of the race somehow being able to defend against a hard-charging Leclerc. Piastri pulls it off in real life. It is impossible to do in-game due to the overspeed you get from DRS on the front straightaway here, as once again we'll see another... Oh, actually, GK into the pits, ready for his stop.
But yeah, that is a good point. A slight, non-equivalence, really, between the real life and the game, but... Very quick pit stop for Bass, as you'd expect. Let's see. So Morris, of course, is going to take the spot. We called that earlier, but the question really is how big will the gap be? I think it could be about 6 seconds, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, that's quite the gap, actually.
Currently, the Delta's saying about 4 seconds. Wow. Well, fair play by Morris. That is, I'll tell you what, if you've got to put a stint in, that's the way to do it. If you're on the medium tyre and you've got people in your DRS, you pit early and then you go crazy on those new hards, and that is really impressive. So who are the protagonists for Tier 2 this season?
Well, let's see. Let me pull it up for us.
VSC out. So, Mr. Bean, I think it will end before. Who is in trouble? Actually, don't know. I don't know what caused the VSC, but if it stays out long enough, Mr. Bean could get just the ticket in the form of
Mr. Bean has no front wing. It may have been him.
Okay, that explains it. The weird thing is, though, he's still got such a great delta, so I'm assuming the VSC must have come out the instant he hit the wall. Well, he is going to have to really hope that it doesn't end before he pits, but I have a horrible feeling that it will end pretty much as he pits. Let's see, though. This is crucial because he's going to lose, I think, 4 seconds changing the wing, but with the delta effect of the VSC, he'd still come out net positive, even with that wing change. So he's kind of been sort of gifted. Yeah, he's been gifted this at this point, really.
It's like, yeah, if you're gonna screw up and hit the wall and break your front wing, like do it enough that the VSC comes out.
It has ended, so he kind of only gained for half his pit stop, but I think he'll come out about net neutral. Be interesting to see though. He's definitely going to come out behind Morris and Bass. I mean, that's a guarantee. Yeah.
Yeah, let's see where Gord comes out.
Mm.
It's going to be really close.
Yeah. Yeah. So Bisping does come out kind of comfortably ahead of Gord, but Gord will obviously push now to get into DRS, which is great for him. So good to see him back in the race. But yeah, Mr. Bean now 5 seconds off Bass, so that has really cost him there. That VSC ended a little bit too early for him, but yeah, didn't even see the contact. Or I should say the collision with the wall. Well, Gord, this is your moment. I mean, you're on the slightly slower tyre, but if you look at what Morris has achieved, clearly there is pace to be found with that hard tyre. I've always found that to be the case at Baku.
Yep, definitely pace on the hards, and with this year, the hards just do not degrade, so you can run pretty consistent lap times for forever, it seems.
Yeah, and I'm sure most viewers probably understand this, but consistency of lap times is really everything. I think most people agree with that because it builds that confidence. So if you have a tyre that does stay the same throughout almost the whole stint, you can just very slightly push it a little bit more each lap until you sort of find your limit, and then you can just keep it there and you feel good. Safety car. What has caused that?
It appears Villeneuve into the castle section. Some sort of collision with the wall. He's still on his way, but the wing is completely gone.
Wow, but they've adjusted a full safety car for that. And
Right.
So GK Bass in, Gord in. Will they go on the softs? Will they go on mediums? So Bass fresh mediums, Gord fresh mediums.
Yeah, the softs are far too fickle now. They fall apart very quickly, so I think the mediums are probably the right call here. Especially if you're not going to lose any positions and you gain all that time back under a full safety car.
Interesting. Yeah, thanks for that. So Morris, do you think he will pit onto mediums this lap?
Ooh.
Now that everyone else is on fresh mediums.
It's quite possible. How old?
8-second gap.
It's six lap hards, so... Yeah, he'll lose a bit of his advantage, but he'll need to do that this lap. I guess the safety car waiting for him after the pit lane. So
yeah. So in theory, the delta should be fair between the two, despite pitting on consecutive laps. But he will appear, well, P3. Yeah. Wow. I don't know what the right call here is. Depends how confident he feels. I mean, his pace on the hard was definitely quicker than Bean and Bass's pace on the medium, but then they do now have fresh mediums.
Yep, car weighs less now later in the race. I think in this situation I would pit to go onto the mediums, knowing that I'm only coming out second or third, and that it's a fair fight between two similar caliber driver. So I think he's gonna pit. Yep.
Yeah, I think that's a great call. I agree with you. I'd pit as well. I wouldn't put softs on based on what you've said, but that's really interesting because I didn't know about that. So yeah, sounds like a fresh medium is the right call. So yeah, Hoop proving his race engineering credentials there. He'll be applying for a top job. You'll see him on the pit wall soon. So Noob is the only driver to elect to equip the soft tyre. I suppose they won't degrade too much under SC unless he does something crazy. But that will still be at least, 8 running laps.
Yeah, 7 or 8. They'll feel really good that first lap. He might be able to get some moves done and get past Craig at least. But after that, they'll start to come apart.
Interesting. I suppose when you're down in the order, though, it makes a little bit more sense.
Absolutely.
Try something a little bit different. I am looking at there are some big gaps. It's an interesting grid because no one's been lapped, but the gaps and the intervals are huge. I think there are three almost 20-second intervals. So quite a lot of closing up to do. So I think the SC will be out for lap 19, and that does actually help Noob.
Yeah, looking at probably at just a 7-lap shootout to the end. Because, the field is so spread out that there's going to be a lot of time for them to close up again. And though Noob having to possibly, I say push, but having to go a little bit quicker than the others to close that gap might actually hurt the softs initially. So let's see how he does on the restart.
So Hoop, are you racing in PRL?
Yes, I'm doing midweek pretty much exclusively now, but ran a couple of the T1 races this season.
That's so cool to hear. Yeah, I've heard good things about midweek. Good sort of turnout, and people are really enjoying it. So the time zone difference means I can't really take part or watch it, but yeah, it's great to hear that that's growing at least.
Yeah, I'd say midweek is maybe not at the very top, but throughout the rest of the field, probably the most competitive tier we have in PRL. Hopefully we'll find a solution soon to being able to broadcast that to the good people out there on the internet.
Well, the solution is very simple. All the Americans, just quit your jobs and run it in UK time.
The racing is so good, all the Americans want to race instead of calm, which is completely understandable.
Oh yeah, completely understand. Yeah, if I was in their position, I'd want to race as well. I've actually noticed that in other leagues, which is quite interesting because I've been following kind of F1 online leagues for quite a few years, and I've noticed a sort of a trend of commentators going back into driving, and it's become a little bit more difficult to find. Partly obviously because of a bit less interest in the game, so less player count. But just an observation I've had.
Yeah, if there's anyone out there that you're going through a frustrating patch of races and nothing seems to go right for you on the track, step away, commentate a race, and you'll realize how much you might actually love this, and it'll kind of renew you, and you'll get right back into it.
Yeah, I love that. Also, when you see other people spinning, you might realize that it's not just you that messes up. The phase I missed was back when I had way more free time, before I took more stressful jobs and so on. And I sort of, I don't know the term, you basically download like a time trial ghost of someone in the league that was ahead of you. So in my case, it would be someone like a Ramsey or like a Tar Heels back in the day, and then you'd race against that on the ghost and time trial. Those sort of things are so fun. Anyway, looks like the safety car is coming in this lap because everyone's weaving. I've not seen the notification though, but so let's prepare to resume. Mr. Bean will be the guy to go, and he is gone. Very nice, actually, very slick exit, and that's the perfect time to go. Don't allow the cars behind to get a massive slipstream for too long. Craig, great restart against the soft runner behind as well. That will frustrate Noob, but pretty standard restart. Nothing much to report there. Very clean. As they make their way down to turn number 3. Let's have a look. No one's going to go for a move as of yet. Noob just sniffing it out there. Craig says, more Noob, I'm on pause. Need the toilet. Well, I think he's definitely not using the toilet now. I mean, if he is, that's incredible. He's got his controller in his hand. Yeah, this has worked out pretty well for Morris. I think you're right there. The call to go on the mediums, close back in, up to P2. Oh, an end plate though. Whose end plate was that? That's crucial. Oh, I absolutely cursed it there. Morris has just lost his front right, and I mean at this level, when you're having to push that hard as he's been doing, hitting that wall multiple times. I did say it earlier, and on the fourth or fifth occasion, wherever it was there, he got that wrong, and he went in not at the parallel angle, and he has lost an end plate. And I think Mr. Bean, with the performance of Mr. Bean and GK Bass, that will be enough, I think, to rule him out. I could be wrong, but it just has too many technical sections. He shouldn't pit. With 5 laps left, he should stay out. But that, in theory, could relegate him down to 4th, because I think Gord as well, very solid driver, will enjoy that. So let's see how that evolves.
He's going to need everything to go right now. Yeah, turn 15, he's brushed up against the wall so many times, and it finally caught up to him. That's a tricky corner, and finally got a little bit too much on exit, and he's going to have to nurse this thing home now.
The interesting thing would be, will the other drivers know that? I guess GK Bass will have seen the end plate fly off. I don't know, we saw it, but I guess Mr. Bean probably has no idea. So from his perspective, he probably thinks Morris is just racing as normal.
Yeah, maybe the fear of having Morris behind you, not knowing that his end plate is compromised, might be enough to push him into a mistake, but who knows?
It's becoming like a psychological experiment now. Noob is struggling on the softs, I think it's fair to say. Yeah, and Craig is struggling on the medium, so I think Noob needs to get this move done now. Justin will be able to recover quite well from all of this, actually. Very worth mentioning that. If we go back to the position changes. So Justin down 5, but in theory could maybe close in on Noob if his tyres collapse. Maybe had a fight with Craig as well. So Noob is going, but also Bass. I've got to go back to the leaders. So Bass on the inside. Oh! Wow, great on the brakes
double
there.
Overtake. Wow.
That was even better. Fastest lap, double overtake. Wow, great stuff from Bass. Really, really trying for this championship. Craig held off Noob, by the way, in the background. And Mr. Bean thinking about it, but that would have ended badly. Side by side, though, between Bass and Morris.
Ooh.
Bass having to defend. Good defend. Oh, another. Yeah, I see this time I think he tank slapped the back left. I think he'll get away with that.
Yeah, don't see any damage to the other side of the wing, but now his downforce is compromised, so he's that section's going to be very, very difficult for him. Very surprised he even tried to take it too wide with the wing damage, but
yeah, that confidence must be swarming through his veins, whatever the saying is, to be doing that. Gord Source is comfortably in this fight, which is great news. The more the merrier. He'd love nothing more than to watch a couple of these drivers go side by side and have some more bits of carbon fibre flying out. Oh, great exit from Gord there. That was really, really confident. I've actually not seen that line too often. Properly attacked the curb, but full traction. So 4 in a line, and we have Bass deviating to the left to defend. Morris then pinned onto the outside, so we're going to have sideways action here into turn 1. That's almost a guarantee. Oh, great driving from Morris. He's already adapted, I think, to this car, because that was perfection. You know, he absolutely just missed the wall. Great exit speed. I think he's overperforming with the car at this point. And that'll be quite frustrating for Bass, and of course it's allowing Mr. Bean to be quite aggressive. Wow, what a race this is. Lap 23 of 26. I think it's fair to say any of these top 4 drivers could win it. No penalties so far, which is, I don't think I've ever seen that in PRL.
Yeah, I think other than the 10-second penalty earlier in the race, it's been a very clean race.
Oh, yeah, of course, because he DNF'd, so it's not showing.
No, the top 4 going at it, but Noob got by Craig, and they went side by side into turn 3, and Noob came back out on top. And so there's a nice little three-way battle going for the P5.
Yeah, I'm just riding on board with Justin, highlighting that. Great shout. And yeah, Noob has finally got past, as you say, but on that soft tyre, I think he'll be a bit disappointed. And will the tyre survive for the next the final 3 laps? Here we go. It feels pretty much like round 23 at this point. Almost like a boxing match. Every time we get to this start-finish line, there is chaos. Gore just hangs it into DRS, but probably won't be too happy about that. He really needs to try and stay in there. Let me just check if his rear wing does open. It does. I don't think there's going to be any overtakes, so Morris is keeping the lead. Wow. Mr. Bean likes to make his presence felt. He loves to deviate to the inside. I don't think drivers like Bass and Morris really get fazed by that.
Yeah, everyone playing nice this lap. No moves at the front. Craig got by Noob further on back, but
oh wow, yeah,
kind of feeling each other out for the last two laps. I think they're all really prepping for the front straightaway. They want to put themselves in the best possible position to make a move at the very last minute on lap 26.
So would you go down the route of save your battery for the very final straight, even though it's a slightly shorter straight, of course, with the start-finish line, or do you go for it on lap 25, try and just hold on to it, and then kind of just use your battery on the last lap? What I'm trying to say is, do you want track position going into the last lap, or do you want to do it on the last lap?
I've been in a similar position at Baku recently, and I ended up using all my battery too early and failing to get to the line ahead of my rival on the final lap. So I would try to wait till the absolute last moment. But I prefer being on the offensive. So depends on how confident you feel on being able to put up a defense going into turn 1 or turn 3 or as into turn 15 as the top 2 have shown.
Yeah. I think in this game, the hot lap battery deg is super high, right? As GK Bass moves to the inside, sets a fastest lap, and gets the move done, which, by the way, that is a massive, like, I can only say good things about that, because it means, right, these top runners, not only are they fighting cleanly and putting a great show on, they're actually setting consistently crazy good pace, all of them. And obviously with the DRS help and Bass pushing that a little bit more, he's just set another fastest lap, but they're all in it, so, you know, these 4 drivers are flying. Is there going to be a safety car? Though they can't be because it's lap 25, but there is a yellow flag for Villeneuve. That promotes Rusty up to P8.
And, Justin making moves. He went from 7th to 5th in that first sector, I believe.
Oh, wow, yeah. There's so much going on. I completely missed that. Great shout, though. Apologies, Justin. We didn't highlight that really cool driving that you must have done, assuming it wasn't Craig and Noob hitting each other. But yeah, it looks to me like Noob's soft tyres, with 2 laps, well, 1.5 laps to go, have started to lose a lot of grip, because I'm just on board with him now, and you can just tell straight away. Just, you know, he's lost a bit of confidence, you know, back spinning out there, just struggling a little bit. Maybe a track limits actually on exit there as well. So yeah, a bit unfortunate, but yeah, very close. Hard to make that call, I suppose. So here we go, it's lap 25, the penultimate lap, and we're just heading down the main straight to start the final lap of this PRL Tier 1 round 13 Grand Prix Azerbaijan at Baku. And we have Morris now closing in on GK Bass. He's using full overtake, so he wants track position going into the last lap, it seems like, willing to burn a lot of battery. GK Bass don't want to give it away. Oh, had to come off the brake and slightly deviate around to avoid contact. And Mr. Bean has been sent into the wall. Has he saved it? How on earth he saved it? I don't know. He's still in this. He's actually okay. He has no damage.
It's squirrely now, but yeah, he went very bravely on the brakes into turn 1, and the space was afforded, but there's only so much space to give, and a little bit of side-by-side contact.
Yeah. Really well put, and it looks like the way Mr. Bean saved that is pretty impressive, to be honest. And to stay that close to the back, albeit with probably now burning hot tyres, that is cool. And what I was going to say before that kicked off was, I think GK Bass doing perhaps what you were talking about, Hoop, with the battery, and like almost going into the back of Morris again there. But yeah, was using a lot of his battery last lap. So if you look at Morris, he, without saying anything out loud, if you can visually see, he knows what he's doing. Let's put it that way. He knows exactly what he's doing.
So Morris probably going on the defensive here because GK has shown that turn 15 is not off limits to make a move. And then now Morris will have more battery to spare going down the final stretch.
Yeah. Mr. Bean, I have never seen a driver try to be so aggressive through this track. That is insane. Hitting barriers, driving over curbs, doing everything he can, because P4 is a frustration when you're in such a tight battle. But right now, the concentration, the focus point is on this final straight. We've got Morris and Bass. Can Bass close in? Morris burning every part of his incense, all of his battery. Bass is perhaps out of juice, and the result is Morris wins. Bass just holds on. Gorb with a really impressive P3, rounding off the podium, and Mr. Bean in P4 after that bit of sideways action in the penultimate lap. Wow, that was a great battle there. I think you'd agree, Hoop.
Oh, wow, and Craig holds off Justin for P5.
Wow, yeah. And then Noob P7, Rusty P8, and Villeneuve finished off the grid. Great driving all round, and yeah, good to see there were kind of two parallel battles there. Really tight all the way to the end, and yeah, great recovery from Justin. Driver of the day going to GK Bass. I think I'd give it to Morris if it was me. But yeah, really, really good racing. I don't actually know quite how he's pulled that off. unless the game has changed significantly. Whenever I lose an end plate around Baku or like a Monaco, it just completely messes you up. So for him to keep that pace and be so clever with the strategy and perfect his use of battery, that was really, really impressive.
Yeah, and he's not battling slouches. He had three guys absolutely hungry for the win back there, and he was able to hold them off.
Yeah, really well said. So let's just run through the official order. Oh, okay. Well, it's gone to a please wait screen, so I think that the order won't show. Probably because I don't know, maybe the game's changed. But you saw the order anyway earlier on the screen, and that was a fantastic race. Really, really enjoyed that. Hoop, thank you so much for joining me. Made it so much better coming back in. So yeah, massive thank you.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for joining us again, Luca.
Okay, take care, everyone. Remember, Tier 2 should be upon us in, I think, 26 minutes. Thanks, bye.